So I hear a lot of chatter about women in science and technology. So I am taking on 5 common myths about us ladies over here. Okay, so myth 1.
Ready.
Ready. Women are right-brained. Technology is a left-brained field.
Not true.
I don't think that's true. It also boils down to things when people say things like, well, women just aren't biologically less interested in science and technology, or their brains aren't as logical as men's brains are. And I did a little bit of research, and I found on the internet, I found studies that proclaimed women both more logical and less logical than men. So my conclusion, of course, is that these data is not necessarily conclusive, and people can interpret them in different ways, depending on sort of their points of view and what they're interested in. Now, see, if we accept, I think the theory is if we accept the underrepresentation of women in these industries and blame it on differences in biology, this kind of thing, then I think that we're less likely to support programs that are going to help women get into technology.
Right, yeah, it's just a self-perpetuating problem, I guess.
Exactly.
All right, yeah.
Myth number 2.
I'm ready.
Women have lives. And this is true. It does take a lot of dedication to program for 8 hours a day, add blue LEDs to your case fan for 2 hours over a large meat lover's pizza, and then get in the bare minimum 4-hour maintenance session of EverQuest.
Yes.
I agree. This takes some time, and then doze off to the flickering lights of Star Trek Voyager in syndication.
Yeah, you just busted the myths, because everyone out there thinks that you do have this life, but really, there it is, you at home playing with your Linux docs.
But I think this is true. I think that women do have lives, but I also think that men have lives. A lot of our screensavers male audience, they get up in the morning, they shower, they go to work, they have lunch with their coworkers, they come home to their wives, they pick up their kids from t-ball, and when they talk about exploits, they're not necessarily talking about computers. So I think that both men and women have lives,
right,
is my point here. And just because women have lives doesn't mean they cannot be interested in technology.
All right.
Myth number 3, women don't like gadgets. Now, just to begin, you and I both know plenty of men who don't know what SCSI stands for and aren't aware of the horrifying limitations of integrated video. It's awful. It really is. Okay, as for gadgets, sometimes women and men too realize that $40 bright green inflatable speakers might just be more gimmicky than useful.
Exactly.
Aren't they just the cutest things?
Yeah. Martin would like that.
He probably would. Now, if it is useful, and so I think sometimes guys get really excited to like grab it from women's hands and show them how it works.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better to just let someone enjoy the gadget and like kind of get to know it, and then they can integrate it more easily into their own lives.
Right.
And I think that's the easiest way to get women interested in gadgets if the woman in your life isn't interested.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Myth number 4. Women did not help build the tech industry. Now, I have some links on the screensavers.com to read about lots of women who helped build the science and technology industry. But today I want to tell you about the first computer programmers.
Women.
6 women, first computer programmers. The ENIAC was the first electronic general-purpose computer built to calculate ballistic trajectories during World War II. Now, these complex differentials had been made by a group of 80 female mathematicians. Now, these women were called computers. When the ENIAC was built, it needed to be programmed, and who came to the call to program it with the same formulas that they used? 6 women, Marilyn Meltzer, Ruth Teitelbaum, Frances Spencer, Kay Antonelli, Jean Bardick, and Betty Holberton, who's also known for her work on COBOL. These women were the first computer programmers in the world. Okay, myth number 5. I'm dying for this one. There are not many women in the tech industry, and this is true.
It is true.
It is true. There are not as many women in the tech industry as there should be. Only about 9% of engineers and 6% of computer scientists are women. And our numbers who are graduating with computer science degrees used to be about 37% in 1984. Now it's down to 20%.
Really? So it's going down?
It's going down. Down,
girls,
down, down.
Girls out there.
I put lots of goodies at screensavers.com. I have with my article, and there's a talk back, so feel free to put your 2 cents in. Everybody has 2 cents on this issue. And so I want to know what everyone would think about this. I also have statistics, links, and references to everything I've talked about here today. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's very cool.
Yes.
Food for thought.
Yes.